Hey everybody, Eugene Johnson here. Welcome to episode 10 of Make Your Mind an Asset. Over the last 9 videos, we've been talking about philosophies and really, shoring up some of those philosophies that we might have had that might have pulled us off course. But we know that Make Your Mind an Asset is deeper than that, right? Make Your Mind an Asset is all about allowing your mind to become an asset instead of a liability. Knowing that if you can change your mind, you can change the game in your life. So we're going to talk about getting a little bit deeper into the mind. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever had a situation where you felt like you knew everything there was to know about a specific topic? You felt like you were doing everything that you should be doing, like you had all of the knowledge, everything, all of the philosophies correct about this specific thing, but for some reason you weren't having that breakthrough success. And some people will say, well, it's because you didn't take action. Well, my question is, if you didn't take action, then why didn't you take action? Well, some people say, well, that's because you didn't want it bad enough. Well, if you didn't want it bad enough, then why didn't you want it bad enough? Well, some people say, well, you didn't want it bad enough because you didn't know why you were doing it. Well, if you didn't know why you were doing it, why didn't you take the time to figure out why you're doing it, right? So all of these things we can continue to ask why, because the philosophy by itself is not enough. Yes, we talk about philosophy, we believe in philosophies and having the right mindset. But the question is, why do you have that mindset? Why do you keep that mindset? Over the long haul, right? Some people have the mindset, they listen to videos like this, they get pumped up, they get excited, they go to seminars, they get around people who have a different standard of living, and they get excited. But the problem is, they might be excited for a day or a week or a month or even a year, but they never keep it long term. They never continue in that philosophy or that way of life. Some people have learned to break through though. Some people have broken through and never went back for the rest of their life, because they're people who lose weight and gain it back, and lose weight and gain it back, and figuring out they lost 50 pounds, gained 50 pounds, and lost 50 pounds, and that hope going back and forth constantly. Though they changed their philosophy, they didn't get down to the root of why they had the old bad philosophy in the first place. And if you don't take time to figure out what's the root meaning behind this, I'll give you an example. When I was younger, I remember this vividly. I had a huge plate of spaghetti, right? And I was sitting at the table, and my mom said to my brother's father, she said, "Why did you give him all of this spaghetti?" And he said, "Oh, he's a big man. He's going to finish it all." Now, at the time, I never really ate much. But for some reason, getting this validation from him that I would be a strong, big man if I ate my whole plate of spaghetti, guess what I did? I ate my whole plate of spaghetti, didn't leave a piece. And then every time a plate came in front of me, psychologically, I just kept thinking, well, if I eat this plate, that makes me a big man. That makes me big and strong. And as a young kid, I kept thinking it made me big and strong. But as I continued to grow older, I was doing the habit. That was the reason why I was eating the plate of food constantly, never leaving anything off my plate. That was the reason why. But I never dug deep into the why. I just did it out of habit. So my philosophy was, don't leave anything on your plate. But that's okay to know the philosophy, and I could have changed the philosophy. Let's say I changed the philosophy of, if you're full, stop eating. Okay, cool. I changed my philosophy. But if I never dug deep into the why my philosophy was the way it was, then maybe my value is I need to be a big, strong man. If I value that as my character and my integrity, but I changed my philosophy to say, don't leave your food on the plate, even though that was attached to me being a big, strong man, guess what I've done? I've created conflicts within my philosophy. And then I always will go back to the old philosophy, because you can't live out of character for long periods of time. You can't live out of your values for long periods of time. Most people feel uncomfortable even being outside of their lane of integrity, what they believe to be true about themselves. They don't want to walk outside of that. So when you change a philosophy, if you never went down to the root, then guess what? You always go back to the philosophy. If I didn't take time to say, Eugene, you don't have to be a big, strong man to eat all of your food on your plate, then if I dealt with that, that was the reason why I had the philosophy in the first place. And once I dug into the why, when I change the philosophy, I can change the philosophy for a lifetime. I've never gone back to that type of lifestyle. Why? Because it's not just because I have a different philosophy. It's because the thing that was attaching me to that philosophy, the why behind the philosophy, there's a psychology of thinking, and there's a psychology of philosophy. And until you dig into the why in that psychology, then you'll always revert back to the old habits and become the old you. And you want to have a new change. You want to move from today on and never go back to the old you. You want to start to look at your situations and figure out, do I have conflicting philosophies? I might have changed my philosophy, but did I take the time to go underneath and figure out the root of that philosophy and make sure that those things are not conflicting? Same thing about money. Some people say, I want to make more money, but they have a root in there that's not allowing them to be okay with making money. So they're not okay with making money because they might have changed their philosophy and said money is okay, but inside they don't really believe it. They're conflicting because in the back of their mind they have money is the root of all evil. And that's incorrect. It's actually love of money is the root of all evil. But if they don't understand and figure out what those conflicting beliefs are, they'll always self-sabotage themselves from moving forward. If you do have the right philosophy and you walk around and you say the right things to yourself, but you don't do the right things, your actions and your words are not lining up, probably because your conflicting beliefs. You have your philosophy, and even though you might have changed it, or maybe you didn't change it, but you have a philosophy, and then you got a root reason why you do that philosophy. And if you don't go down to that root and figure out what it is, and then speak against it, tell yourself, figure out why you believe this way, and why that root thing is wrong. Once you uproot that root, then you can move on with the new philosophy and not have those conflicting beliefs. Today is really the first week of the second quarter of the year. How was your first quarter? Remember January 1st when you had New Year's resolutions? Are you doing those New Year's resolutions? If not, then maybe you got some conflicting philosophies there that's stopping you, even though you said with passion and belief, with a new philosophy at that point in time, I'm going to change, I'm going to do things different, and then today you're not changing, you haven't done anything different. Maybe there's some conflicting beliefs there that you got to dig into the root, figure out why, pull that why up, then change the new philosophy and run with that philosophy. You'll have breakthrough and you'll never go back to the old way of thinking.